Good morning. Welcome back to Pastor's Morning Walk. Another beautiful morning here in North Carolina. Perhaps you can tell that I got a new camera by the kind gift of a friend and faithful listener. I'm thankful to him and to the Lord. The Lord provides well, and I hope these videos continue to be an encouragement to all who watch. I've had sweet days this past week, days of preparation for communion with Christ this Lord's Day. Personally, this is a major blessing for me, in that for a variety of reasons, I have not administered the Lord's Supper in about 5 years now. So to return to it is a real blessing. Been having sweet times of prayer and communion with the Lord, sweet times of fellowship with the saints here as I visit them and seek to help them in their preparation. And the Lord is blessing those things. We look forward to tonight enjoy a men's fellowship event with some men in the church together with some visitors. And it's a reminder of something I've wanted to talk about for a little while, and that is the benefits of social Christianity. Now by this I don't mean that of the social justice warriors or liberals, communists, etc. What I mean is that God made man to never be on his own. No man is an island, and that's natural. We belong in community, and that religion does not change that, but in fact enhances it and brings great blessing to man's social fellowship, but also vice versa. Social religion brings great blessing to man. I'll illustrate it this way. It is a challenge to maintain a healthy, strong, zealous, private prayer life. It's a challenge worth meeting and laboring for. But a help in cultivating prayer is social prayer. Praying with another person, praying with a group, praying with ministers or elders, calling when you're sick, as James says, the elders of the church to come and pray for you, praying in the gathered assembly, whether at prayer meeting or on the Lord's Day worship. These things do not replace private prayer, but they're an excellent supplement, and in a certain sense, they're better because you have more than one heart united. It's also easier in social prayer to focus, at least I find, because there's a greater intensity in which more than one person is coming together. You also have a wholesome social pressure. There's people watching and listening, and so you have more reason to behave. Now that can be abused for hypocrisy, but it's not actually a bad thing. We encourage one another when we're together. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a regular time making use of social prayer or social Bible reading, where you together with others use these means of grace for your good, then you should cultivate it. In families, the most obvious and natural and common way is to read the Bible together as a family and to pray together. What's often called family worship. I recommend this highly. Bible studies with trustworthy Christian friends can be great. Times of prayer in person, or if need be, on the phone. I've had friends that I pray with on the phone, off and on, and that has been a great blessing. It's good to use the means of grace with others. I read again in Job chapter 20, and Zophar the Naamathite is giving his opinion again. And he has great wisdom, though it's misapplied. His whole speech is of the judgment God will bring upon hypocrites. And it is dreadful. It will be sudden. And when he thinks he's escaped, that's when he will be destroyed. He uses powerful images, including of a glittering sword coming out of his gall. God will judge the hypocrite. Zophar is wrong to apply this, at least by implication, to Job, who was not a hypocrite. He was a godly man. But nonetheless, what he says is true, and it ought to bring great warning. God hates wickedness, especially when it's hidden under the guise of Christianity. So take heed. I also continued reading in Song of Solomon, chapters 2 and 3. And in chapter 2, according to the method of the book, as an allegory, combining all sorts of images to give somewhat of an impression of the depth and variety of communion that a believer has with Christ, or that the church has with Christ. It spoke of springtime, of the winter being past, and the rains over and gone. The time of birds and flowers had returned to the earth. Now these are natural cycles established at creation and reaffirmed by God after the flood. He keeps them going, and in themselves they're not spiritual. Certainly there's nothing about experiencing or enjoying spring that will convert a man. But God made nature with grace in mind. And he made grace in a way that honors and exalts nature. And the Christian, on walks like this, when he sees the beauty of nature, should be prompted to think of the beauty of grace. It should be a continual reminder to him, walking about in God's world and seeing all its beauty and seeing the cycles that he's put in it of the greater and more excellent spiritual blessings that God has given. So spring is a sort of resurrection. Everything was dead, and now it's alive again. And that should be a reminder to a believer that God has taken his dead heart, and by his union with Christ, who was raised from the dead, he has given life to his mortal body. We should long for spring times of the soul in which we have particular refreshment in our communion with Christ. But then chapter 3 talks about how there are times when that communion ebbs. The spouse, the woman, is on her bed longing for her beloved, and she can't find him. So she goes about and asks the watchman in the street for her beloved. Now she does find him, but there was a time of distress in which she didn't have the communion with him that she had previously enjoyed. And this is true for every Christian. It is distressing, but we also submit to God's wisdom that he's appointed that not every time in the Christian life would have the same sweetness and closeness of communion with Christ. One reason, I believe, that God gives us those times in which we have to seek our beloved is precisely so that we would seek him, so that we would not be content just to wait around and be passive Christians, but that we would actively stir up our soul to seek the Lord. And it's instructive what this woman does when she finds him. She found her beloved and embraced him and would not let him go. And again, you see the wisdom then of God in distancing himself somewhat from the sense of the believer, of giving times of leanness, of giving winters of the soul in which things appear dead. It's so that in seeking the refreshment of deeper and better communion with Christ, we might not abuse it, but enjoy it. So that in finding Him again, we would resolve never to leave Him, and to enjoy and appreciate and be thankful for the communion that we have in a way that before we might have taken it for granted. So I would speak to Christians who feel like they're in the winter, feel as if they're in their beds, wondering where their beloved is gone. Let this prompt you to seek Him. Seek Him by the means He has appointed: the Word, the prayer, sacraments. And wait patiently upon Him. Go after Him, and resolve that when He returns to you, when you find Him again, you will embrace Him and never let Him go. May the Lord bless you today.